Adam, what's up?
What's up, man? What's up, Eric?
Thank you for coming, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
I know your schedule's nuts. We try so hard. When I check in with Adam like once every 4 weeks just to see what his schedule's like, and he doesn't put me off. He always has a legitimate reason why he's not available. So
it's just the chaos lifestyle that I live. Yeah.
Before we start, thank you so much. He came bearing gifts, and I haven't, as I've said in the show, I've not really partaken in alcohol since the pandemic, but if I'm going to fall off the little wagon here, I'm going to do it with you, sir.
All
and
right.
This Dogfish head beer is amazing. The 60-minute IPA. Not had it before.
Yeah.
It's good.
This is my go-to beer when I'm happy, when I'm sad, when I'm outside working on the lawn, whatever. Man, they're a great company. They actually they kind of supported me a little bit.
Okay.
So they ended up sending me a couple beers in the mail, and
what's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that, and that's great. So yeah, it's really, really awesome. But they're a cool company because they actually invited me and Tyler with the Thirsty Outdoorsmen. They invited us out to Delaware to go visit their brewery, and they gave us a private tour.
Oh, really cool.
Yeah, and they hooked us up, man. I mean, they showed us how the beer was made.
Right.
And it was the freshest beer I've ever had in my entire life. I was like, this is why I love this beer so much. Plus, they're very, they're still privately owned. They're very oriented with their local communities and stuff like that. So
right.
I support them. They support me. I support them.
It's tasty.
And it's delicious.
Very tasty. Well, thank you, my friend. And you also... He ended up bringing a little bit of red stripe, because he obviously knew where he was going.
Last time I was here, I nearly drank you out of house and home. So.
Yeah, you went through some that day. I did too. So I've been trying to moderate. So, look, there's so many things I want to talk to you about, and I feel like our friendship has grown, even though we haven't been in the same room for a while because of social media and just communication between the two of us. Let's just talk about right now, which seems to be the prevailing opening question I ask my guests here. How are you doing in the pandemic era, personally here?
The global pandemic of 2020. The global pandemic of 2020. I am, dude, I've got so much mixed feelings. I mean, you kind of have to. It's like when I was going to come on the show, I was gonna throw up a Nilla folder full of like, facts and pictures and things of like, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. I don't believe this. I don't believe this. But honestly, if you go online, you try to research this stuff, there's just so much inaccurate material out there that it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I got more dumb just going online and trying to figure out what's wrong with this stuff, because you have so much biased material out there. Like, it's so hard to find unbiased stuff. It's so hard. Okay, what's it going to take, like, to get my point across? Okay. And you always have these people too who want to cite these facts, and what they do is they go on and they try to do research. Well, the problem is that they're researching stuff like, okay, so if it's like the left, why is this pandemic, or why is the coronavirus so deadly?
Right.
And then you'll find all the things. This is why the virus is deadly. And then you'll have the right side will be like, why is this virus such fake news or whatever? And then it'll cite so much evidence. There's so much unbiased evidence, and I think all it is just a way for us to get divided. And
there's no question.
Yeah. And I honestly, with me, what I believe more and less, I believe yes, it is a virus. I believe it's a strain of a flu, which we've known about for years. And I believe that it's not as bad as what we had back in 2009. A lot of people don't realize we had the H1N1, the swine flu.
I remember.
What was it? 60 million people globally contracted that. And I think it was roughly over 500,000 died from it globally. So, I mean, that was a pandemic. You don't see what we have going on, what was happening back then. Back then, these people aren't shutting things down because of that. And that's where I'm like, what is going on?
It's hard. You made a great point in that the information the public is trying to disseminate. Is that the right word? It's a big word for our show. Disseminate.
Oh, man. Yep.
The information as a whole, and based upon that 99% of all of us are not medical professionals or have backgrounds in diseases and so forth. So we naturally gravitate to things that might maybe lean toward a certain political belief that we already have.
Yes.
And it just continued to polarize the country right now.
Yeah. And honestly,
would you not agree?
Oh, no, I absolutely. And that's exactly what we don't need. What we need is all of us right now to come together and just kind of just like work together. We understand that there are people out there that are getting sick. Some people are dying. Generally this isn't new to us, though. I mean, we've seen new viruses and stuff come up almost every single year. There's something new, but we don't see this type of reaction to it, and I'm not sure why.
I think the appropriate word has to be panic.
Yeah,
I honestly believe from everything that I've seen, from the plethora of probably a lot of misinformation, but I do honestly in my heart of hearts believe that it's a very contagious virus. I believe that.
Yeah.
I also understand that the pandemic textbook is that social distancing and wearing masks and limiting gatherings. It's a manner in which to control the spread. I get that too. I can believe into that. Now, the problem I have is that I think we went into panic mode, right? I mean, we just wholesale shut stuff down, we destroyed industries. I'm sorry, we did.
Yeah.
Destroyed small businesses, changed our complete way of life out of panic.
Without facts.
I think so. And what happened ultimately was that we may have flattened the curve. How could we not? We've literally separated ourselves from each other and killed off some of the major industries, social industries in this country, right? So how could we not have flattened the curve? And I'm happy we did, but I think we could have done that and still maintained our economics, our culture, and so forth. It would make everybody happy, but ultimately, I think we went into a panic mode, and politicians from both sides of the aisle initially bought into it.
Yeah. Yep.
Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. As far as what the steps we took as far as the quarantine and stuff like that, we did all this without actually having true evidence. We haven't seen it. We haven't had an example from it. You have so many skewed measures from other countries. I mean, Can you really trust China? Can you really trust them to give you the true information? No, you can't.
Nothing out of that country is valid.
And to destroy the economy, over the fact of
amazing economy that was stronger than anything we've ever had before, right?
And to do that over just fear is just beyond me. But honestly, I think what we're doing with this whole quarantine thing, I think we're really shooting ourselves in the foot. I mean, this is going to be here, and it's here to stay. I hate to say it. Watch, when they start opening things up, people are going to start getting sick again. And it's probably not going to be from the coronavirus. People are just going to start getting sick. Because our immune systems are down now, because normally when we're out and about, we're talking to other people, we're exchanging all our germs, and our bodies are learning how to fight them. Now we don't have that. No. Now our bodies are starting to relax a little bit. Our immune systems are starting to relax a little bit. Now you're getting a situation where, okay, as soon as we get back, everybody's going to, as soon as everything opens up, everybody's going to go crazy. Right. I mean, there's going to be raves everywhere. There's going to, parties and stuff like that. And you're going to see a lot of people get sick. And that's, not because of the coronavirus, but for the fact that we're stuck inside and our immune systems are down. We're not used to fighting it.
Interesting point.
Yeah. I want to start off by saying I'm not an expert. I'm not.
Well,
none of us are. But that's my perception of what I think is going to happen. And I don't know, man.
I think the frustration comes, and I have a lot of friends that are physicians and nurses and people that work in, like yourself, got a big sphere. I know how big your sphere is. So you've got people out there that that are in medical, and they will want to, and very genuinely and very honestly, lecture us who are skeptical data, and I get it. I'm not skeptical of how deadly this disease can be, but there's a lot of deadly diseases and a lot of deadly ailments that affect a certain portion of society. Mm-hmm. And I think what we've done in many aspects has been wonderful. It just was done all at once, and it was done at the expense of our way of life.
Yes.
And I think that if there was more thought put into the process, we could have done things in stages, or we could have had a little discernment on how we dished out orders.
Yeah. Yep.
Especially
I
coming
agree.
from the government, coming from government, not the presidency per se, but the governors around the country. Mm-hmm. I think have all had more latitude than a lot of them are qualified to handle.
Absolutely. They're allowing the power to get to their heads, and they don't understand that the power actually resides within the people itself. And
that seems to be lost in the conversation.
I really want people to understand that, especially the ones who are against what we normally, both me and you, think of, and I'll say it. I voted for Trump. I like Trump. I like what he's doing. I think he was very business oriented, and he got the country where it needed to be.
Right.
Do I disagree with some of the things he does and how abrasive he is with the other side? Yes, I do disagree with that. But, in the long run, it's all about actions, not about what you speak. So
it should be in this country, but a lot of times it's all show in this country and not actions.
But to the people who have always been against him, I mean, I don't get it. The logic doesn't seem to be there for me. But they themselves need to understand that this is the greatest country in the world. This is the greatest country this world has ever seen. Mm-hmm. And the reason behind that is because us as a people, we have freedom. And with those freedoms, we have rights. With those rights, we have the Constitution to protect those rights. And you start giving up your Constitution, you start giving up your rights, and you start giving up your freedom, you lose the power. And we no longer become the greatest country this world has ever seen. Look at Rome, and this is what sucks. Rome was the greatest country, prior to us, that this world has ever seen. Mm-hmm. They said Rome would last forever, and it certainly didn't. Right. And unfortunately, that's what's going to happen to America. America's not going to last forever. Something bad's going to happen, whether it's war, whether it's liberal logic. I don't know, but these. The country's not going to last long, and I don't want to be in the time era when it does. And I'm one of those types of guys who I gladly will, stand on the front lines of oppression and defend my freedom if possible. But we have an opportunity still, if we all just learn to come together and put our differences aside, become united, and stand up. Imagine what if all the small businesses right now decided to open up right now, every single one of them, just, you know what, screw the governor, screw what he says, I'm going to open up. Do you honestly think he's going to be able to fine all of them? Do you honestly think he's going to be able to stop everybody?
No, they're not even finding and following through with arrests and so forth that are happening with just small little pockets of resistance right now. Yeah,
you can't. And because when it still comes down to it, it comes down to your rights and your constitutional rights. There's nothing that they can do that they can hold over you. I know a couple of state police guys, local officers, and even pretty much all of them said, hey, I'm not going to find this person. I'm not going to go and arrest somebody for not wearing a mask. I'm not going to do this. That's their constitutional right. And, I took up this job to protect his rights and protect, the American people. I'm not going to do that because some governor told me to do that. Right. And at the same time, is it a law? No, it's not a law. It was a mandate. And honestly, that still doesn't. A law takes months, if not years, to go through.
You got 2 houses in Pennsylvania, 2 houses of representatives to vote on it, and then signed by the governor. I get all that, and again,
it doesn't.
So that murky area of like an executive order by the governor. How much weight does it actually have? And it's untested for the most part.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it is.
So let's talk about Pennsylvania specifically. So you and I are different in this. For full disclosure here, you work in the oil and gas industry, and you were deemed essential.
Essential.
So you just kept rolling along.
Yeah,
Under a different environment, but you kept rolling along.
Yeah.
I'm a realtor, real estate. Yes.
Yeah.
Next Friday, I actually get to go back to work. Isn't that
that's
fucking
nice.
great? Yeah. So next Friday. Now, meanwhile, a little just to because the question I'm going to ask you is probably loaded, but let me give you my landscape so you get it for our sake of our discussion.
Okay.
If you haven't known, Pennsylvania was the last state that still prohibited real estate to function, and real estate was not essential. Every other state permitted their realtors to go out there because it is your home, maybe your biggest investment ever.
Right.
So we could not work. And I will tell you something. During the pandemic, I had closings in play. I had inspections and appraisals and negotiations. It was tough because this particular governor and his administration did not give the Pennsylvania Real Estate Commission nor the Pennsylvania Realtor Association any directives on really how to let deals in progress evolve.
Yeah, right.
They just shut us fucking down.
Yeah,
How do you do that?
Yeah. Well, what happens to the guy who, okay, I just sold my home and I haven't closed this yet. What do I do? What's that guy do?
Yeah, it's been a cluster.
Wow.
So again, that's my own selfish issue, but I want to say that so you know where my standpoint is going into this discussion.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I just think talk about Pennsylvania and how how your viewpoint is on how it was mandated and implemented.
Well, first things first, I want to point out that between the deaths and the coronavirus cases and the shutdowns, why is it all the Democratic governors who govern those states still shut down and have the most amount of deaths, the most amount of cases? But meanwhile, you got Florida's open back up. You've got Tennessee. You've got other places like that, and they're doing fine. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. As far as Governor Wolf,
it's a philosophy thing, though,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
it's an underlying philosophy.
I really,
the big government, heavy-handed. Come down. We're going to tell you how to live, and we know what's best for you. You do this.
It's. I really want Democrats to watch this too, so I'm trying not to be so
I think
biased.
It's even broader than that. The parties are. I think it's philosophy, liberal philosophy, conservative philosophy, or a little bit of both.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, I agree on that, and the way he's taking this, like he's way over his head, and I don't know it to the point where today I think he just extended the stay-at-home order till June 4th. Like practically a whole nother month. Mm-hmm. And it's like, how are businesses supposed to, how are we supposed to function? How are we supposed to actually make money? For myself, I've had problems with this already, but, I'm counting my blessings because I work for a gas company that's deemed essential. So I still have a job.
Lucky you.
Yeah. And my fiance still has a job too. She works in supplements and for GNC.
Right.
So she sells a lot of health products and stuff like that. So we're both very, very lucky and blessed. But I honestly feel for the small businesses right now. I know plenty of business owners, a couple of them are my friends, and they're just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how to make it. And it's like you try to get assistance. There's so many people trying to get assistance. You have so many people who are unemployed, have been unemployed for almost 2 months, nearly 2 months.
Right.
They still haven't received a paycheck. I'm not the most well-off person in the world. If I lost my paycheck, it would be for 2 months. It would be very difficult for me to function.
Feel the pain.
So honestly, I don't agree with the way he's handling this situation. As far as the state goes, like I'll tell you personally, on a personal matter. Both me and Mary and my fiance, we had a wedding set up for June 26th. And
congratulations, by the way.
Yeah,
thank you. Become engaged to a beautiful young lady since the last time I saw you.
Yeah.
So officially, congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So she herself had worked her butt off to put this wedding together. I mean, it was day and night for 3 or 4 months straight, talking to vendors. We were meeting with a bunch of different companies and venues, and we finally found a spot, got it set up, and then this hits. And it was about 3 or 4 days ago we had to make the unfortunately we had to make the decision to cancel it. And it's like cancel. Well, it's not canceled, it's postponed. It's postponed indefinitely till we find another venue or something like that. And honestly, and some of us, we've lost money too. We've lost money with vendors who won't give us a full refund. So they'll say, hey, you did do a down payment, so I got to keep that, but I will give you the rest of the money back. Fortunately for her, the venue we had is giving her a full refund, because honestly, who predicted a global pandemic? Boy, we picked a hell of a year to get married. So so we're still kind of looking. We're back to square one again, and like I said, I'm more upset that all her hard work was kind of just halted.
I get it. I get it. And that's a real life story there of how this mess affected your life, and I get it. And you're not alone. You two are not alone. I can tell you that in my own family, my wife's sister's daughter, my wife's niece, was scheduled to get married as well right during this, and it completely got postponed almost, well, I won't say it's a year away, but I mean, quite a while down the road. To kick the can down the road a little bit, and it's very unfortunate. Yeah. It's unfortunate because, as you know, there's travel arrangements, there's all kinds of craziness that goes along with big life events, which are very special events. Yeah, it's and of course, let me ask you this question. What drives me crazy is probably in the last 8 weeks, the number one thing that drives me nuts in the dialogue is that if you feel the way you and I seem to feel, that this was done in a panic mode, irrational, and without a plan, and at the expense of small business, you feel this way. Those who are panicked, those that are very fearful, usually those also who have a steady paycheck coming in, who don't understand small business, they look at us and they say, oh, there you go, putting money before life. I've been accosted, I'll say the word accosted, by many friends of mine, and I still consider them my friend, regardless, that have said exactly that to me, and that's a fucked up thing to say to somebody.
Yeah. And honestly, most of those people aren't going to do that. No, I don't put money, in front of human lives. Honestly, first of all, the facts aren't there. They estimated over 100,000 people were going to be dead in America. We've got nearly 20,000. Well, I don't even think that's right. So many damn stories of them, inflating a number just because. Oh,
no question.
I don't even want to get into that. Stories of we're gonna pay you an extra $8,000, $9,000 for that death as long as you say it's a COVID-19 death.
There's some funny business going on.
And it's like I wanna throw out facts on that, but I can't, and I don't want to put. That's true, but I hear so many stories, and I'm hearing people even in the health business is saying, yeah, that's what they say.
It does fit an agenda.
Yeah, it does. It does. And it sucks. And I'm trying to think, what is the agenda? What's the purpose? What's the purpose of let's get rid of small business here in America? Let's make people more dependent on the government. Is that the point? Is that the point? Is it to make more people dependent on the government? I don't know. But I don't understand the logic behind it. I hate to say it. Guess what? Capitalism is great. Freedom is great. Rights are great. Government is bad.
For everybody.
Take government out of stuff and watch how we all prosper. It's nuts. Government is a ceiling in every single one of our lives. If not get rid of it, we understand there's some things that the government needs to be a part of.
Of course.
But I mean, in our pursuit of happiness, it shouldn't be able to tell us what to do, when to do it, how to do it. So
yeah, and I would agree with you on that. Government should not be telling you how to live or putting oppressive mandates on you and telling you that arbitrary stuff. And again, so this crisis, I'll use the word, this crisis has exposed where folks lie. Those who are comfortable with the government taking care of them, supposedly, and those who enjoy their freedoms and want to create their own life on their own terms are on the other side. And while there's a lot of friendships and love amongst these people with families and, of course, this pandemic, this crisis, and those who are manipulating the narrative in government, in politics, have increased the divide between these two factions of people in the country. And it doesn't necessarily fall along political lines of Democrat, Republican. It doesn't, but it does exacerbate a divide there, which is hurtful. Mm-hmm. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I don't know, man. I want to say yes. Okay, there is a virus. Yes, it is hurting us. But is it at the expense of, what was it today? Today we have reached a huge mark in unemployment. Today we are the most unemployed America since the Depression. Mm-hmm. This is the most unemployed people since the Depression.
Right.
More, I should say. Right. I think it's at 14.7%, I want to say.
Insane.
Yeah,
really insane.
And over 20 million people without jobs. Was it worth it? Like, you're going to have – it
wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it.
Right. And after that, like, okay, so you get people who are sick. You get – there's like a 99.96% chance you're going to survive it if you do get it.
No one wants to talk about that.
Yeah, nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about that. But what happens when somebody who just took all their money out of their 401k to invest into a business and it just gets shut down and they have absolutely nothing? They lost everything.
Desperation.
What do you think that person's going to be like? Do you think they're going to be depressed? And depression is one of the biggest killers in America. So you're going to start seeing a lot of suicides. You're going to start seeing a lot of people be like, I got nothing to live for anymore if I just lost this.
That's the untold cost that nobody wants to talk about. Depression,
nobody wants
suicide rates. What about abused children, abused spouses?
Absolutely, yeah. These kids who had school and
as their only salvation,
as their way of getting away from this situation. But yeah, I
and that comes back to my original point, Adam, is that it's like we basically panicked as a people, and we let our politicians impose mandates, shutdown mandates on us, when if there had been a little bit of critical thinking and maybe everybody take a deep breath for a second, was it possible? I think so. Mm-hmm. Maybe we could have had structured rollbacks of certain things to protect the citizenry. At the same time, try to preserve a portion, if not all, of our economy. It could have been done, and I laugh at this because this is look, like you said earlier. You hit on a great point. People are dying to get into America. We are the place everybody wants to come. Mm-hmm. All the money's here. Yeah. All the brains are here. All the dynamic personalities here. The entertainment here, everything you want is in this country. The greatest country on the face of the planet. The greatest country that this earth has ever seen, right. Period, hands down. But you're going to cripple it over panic. Mm-hmm. That's insane to me.
I saw a meme not too long ago. It said this generation would have lost World War II. And I kind of agree, man. I understand. Man, it sucks to think about, but we're not as strong as we used to be. We've let this easy lifestyle, this lifestyle of us being able to make as much money as we want without working as hard as we could. A lot of us have forgotten what it's like to work with our hands. Mm-hmm. This generation, I believe, is weak, and the people that are running it, I think they're a lot weaker. But it just, I don't know, man. It comes down to the people understanding what they have, and I don't think they do. They're spoiled rotten, and they're thinking, okay, this is what I want to do, and whatever.
Yeah, it's a philosophy thing. I really believe it comes down to philosophy, and I don't blame a lot of people if you were raised in a way, and I'm guilty. I've got two kids, 19 and 17, and we did the best we could to make their life easy. And sometimes I look back and say I made it too easy at times. It's my fault.
Yeah.
But there's a generation of people doing that, and whether that generation is soft, whether we as a people are soft, I don't know. I want to still believe in the America, the pride is there. I want to believe in that. But when I saw how fast everybody or a good portion of the population capitulated under these mandates, and not enough people questioning, like, really? You're going to shut an entire economy down? One of the most thriving, if not the most thriving economies in the history of this country, I mind you. And when you do things like that, the natural reaction to a portion of society is going to say, well, there's got to be a hidden agenda. Mm-hmm. Whether it was a conspiracy or not, I'm not inclined to think that there is a conspiracy. I just think there's a lot of stupidity on display. But those kind of things happen when you make such irrational decisions.
Right. And I think there's a few people who are starting to wake up. They're starting to understand, and I don't know if the government's starting to catch some wind of that or not, because all of a sudden they just released they just released UFO sightings. Did you see that? The Pentagon just released they're like, oh crap, they're on to us. Hey, aliens. look, aliens. Look at that, guys. Look at that over there.
Yeah, but on that subject though, I find it ridiculous, and this is you reminded me of something I wanted to ask you. We have a plan for an alien invasion. The government has that. They've got a plan, and if we're invaded by aliens, we're going to do boom, 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 boom. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure it's multinational, right? But we had no plan for a pandemic, man. So
isn't that weird? That's weird.
It is weird. So my question is, Democrat, Republican doesn't matter. No administration in all these years have had. There's no plan in place right now. This hit us. This gave us a bloody nose, and we were not prepared to react to it. And I think I blame our federal government primarily for not having. There's been pandemics around this globe for a long time. We've had it in this country. 1918 was like
Spanish flu.
Absolutely right. For us not to be prepared, how can we not have enough ventilators? I guess my point is, on the federal level, and I'll start there. On the federal level, we did not have a plan, and of course, on the state level, there was nothing. That is a fucking sin, and that is where the citizenry should be angry at the government.
No, I agree, and it's we don't we don't really. Before all this hit, none of us really thought about that. I didn't think about a pandemic or a virus or something like that. If I did think of a virus, you know what I thought of? I thought of a biological weapon. Mm-hmm. I thought of that. Mm-hmm. I mean, if it's a biological weapon, why couldn't we treat the pandemic as a biological weapon?
Oh, you heard it. Didn't people's minds go to that when they heard it was China?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have a hard time believing, too, it was bat soup. It's not bat soup. I don't. Whether or not they're doing research on the what was it, the horseshoe bat? Is that
what it's called?
Yeah, the horseshoe bat.
Okay.
It's a bat that obviously lives deep in caves, and I guess they tend to carry coronavirus. I don't know. Supposedly, what I heard is that the cave was roughly 3 or 4 miles from that Wuhan market.
Okay.
And there was tests being done on the bats, and I guess there was an infection or something happened with the coronavirus from that bat. Mm-hmm. And then now I think today or yesterday I heard something that Trump said we have evidence that it came from a Wuhan lab. So now I'm like, everything has been covered. Okay, it's either a bat soup, bat cave, or Wuhan lab, and of course we've got a bioweapon for population or depopulation purposes. So I don't know what to look at. I mean, honestly, it's just try to use, in this situation, try to use as much logic as possible that you can. I know it's difficult, but honestly, realize that not a lot of people like us for having an economy so well,
Right.
and having,
Envy.
think about that, and think about the fact that if you do eat a bat, your stomach acid kills a lot of the viruses. I mean, you know how much stuff we pick up off the floor and eat. You know, I do 5, sometimes 10-second rule, and I eat stuff off the floor all the time. I've never caught anything. I know there's viruses down there. Everybody knows that. Any mom out there, especially newborn mom, I mean, the amount of viruses that you deal with a baby, it's ridiculous. Like, and to think that eating a bat came from that, my logical mind says that that's probably not right. Something else is screwed up here. I don't know. Take it for what you will. I mean, it is what it is. We're dealing with it now, whether it came from a lab or a bat.
Well, it's not a new thing, right? Because
but
I thought I saw articles where the word coronavirus was on Lysol cans 20 years ago, right? I mean, I think
and then they'll say, well, it was a different strain of coronavirus. You know, like
okay,
I hate to say it. If you look online, even the CDC covers it. Influenza, the flu, has a new strain every single year.
Yeah.
And they're able to come out with a vaccine for that strain every single year. I don't get it. You know what's crazy with it? The H1N1 was another form of that flu. A lot of people don't realize this, but remember, we didn't react this way at all. Not even batting an eye at the swine flu.
Right.
You realize 80% of those people that died from the H1N1 were under 80 or under 65 years old.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah.
Now it's 80% of the people that die are above 65 years old.
Right.
What would we be like today if the swine flu came out? How bad would it be?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right, and I get it. And
I believe this is a relatively weak virus. Someone told, citing off researchers and scientists who said this. I don't know if they're being bought out or biased reasoning or whatever, but somebody said that this is a relatively weak virus. It doesn't last. It lasts no more than 5-10 minutes on a surface and then it dies.
Right.
It dies in 80% or 80 degree Fahrenheit. Kills the virus. Sunshine kills the virus.
Stomach acid kills the virus.
Stomach acid kills the virus, which and when you start eating something like that, if it was a bat, your saliva is a part of your stomach acid. It's a digestive enzyme. That's an important process of you digesting. Like that would start killing the virus. It doesn't make sense, man. It doesn't.
No, there's a lot of things don't add up to.
Yeah.
And again, it's hard to have a conversation on this often because people if they're fearful, and people are living in fear, or our medical folks are dealing with it daily. Look, I understand that if you're an emergency room nurse and you are dealing with COVID patients for the last 8 weeks, day in, day out, how could you not have a different view on this than myself? Of course you do. And believe me, I am open enough to listening and believing everything you say. I'm not disputing any of it, but we personalize everything in this country. So if I had a family member pass of COVID tomorrow, that's raw and real, and I'm angry about that. But that anger may prohibit me from looking at facts, because facts don't give a fuck about emotion.
Yeah, absolutely.
And statistics don't give a fuck about emotion. The bottom line is, you know what I mean? Facts don't care about your feelings, I guess. And that's one of the most real circumstances, or one of the most real sayings imaginable. Facts don't care about your feelings.
Yeah, absolutely. And
harsh. I know that. I'm sorry it's harsh.
I agree. And in those situations, when you're dealing with that nurse, okay, you're obviously in a hot spot. That hot spot ought to be kind of taken care of more than other places.
Absolutely.
Like, why do you got to shut down Greene County, Pennsylvania? There's 7 people to live there.
My point.
Like, you know, I'm in West Virginia. West Virginia was shut down, and I was like, you know, I did. If I went down a driveway, some guy came out with a shotgun, like, what is that? You know, oh, I'm human. Sorry, you know, hey, you know, they don't see nobody down there. Why do you got to shut them down? Why do you got to shut businesses down there?
I think that we could have done things differently, and maybe you know, really interesting in this country, there's the struggle between state rights and federal rights, and we don't have that figured out. And I know that usually the conservative bent is the state rights are more important than federal, and the liberal bent tendency is the federal is more important than state. And I don't know which is the best way to do it, even in crises. But I will tell you, we don't have it figured out as to how they effectively fucking work with each other.
No, it's honestly, it's, you know, you got President Trump up there. It says, okay, I have the power to overrule the governors, and the governor says, no, you don't. And it's like nothing.
That's a problem.
Yeah, neither one of them have ever done anything. The governor's still governing us. The president hasn't really opened anything up. You know, all he's doing is just pleading with the governors to do so.
I don't get it. And there's not a clear delineation of what can and can't be done, and that's a problem. And I know that each side fights for it, and we let the courts. I guess the courts are supposed to make decisions on what a state can and cannot do versus the federal government. Why? Why can't it be very clear cut and delineated? Why this is black and white to me? I don't get it.
I don't know, and I want to say it's money oriented, and you know, we have politicians now who have become career politicians, and obviously they're becoming career politicians because it's good money.
Term limits, you know, pal. We need term limits.
I'm for it. Absolutely. You know what it is? You put politics in anything and it just gets watered down. It's just, it's ridiculous. Back in the day, I'm talking when we first founded America, you know what the politicians were? They were farmers. They were doctors. They were, you know, teachers, whatever. These were American citizens who would get together every month, okay, and they discuss.
The common folk.
Yeah, these were people who were a part of the real world.
Right.
Politicians are no longer a part of the real world. They're in their own world, and they're like, how do we take money? How do we govern these people? How do we govern our pawns in this whole big chess game that we're playing? You know, and it sucks, man. And I wish people recognize that. I wish we all voted on term limits. And you know, I don't see
how
why.
Amazing would it be that, like, I mean, theoretically, if term limits were instituted where you could hold, I don't know, let's say representative right now they run every 2 years, which is a problem. Let's say that was changed to 1 4-year term, and you were only allowed one 4-year term. You could get elected for a different seat somewhere else, but you can't serve that same seat more than one term. You'd have this constant influx of new blood, new ideas, the whole thing.
Yeah,
less corruption. I also think too, Adam, that you would have people, higher quality people, business successful people that would come in and say, you know what, I will do my civil duty for 4 years. I'll give up 4 years of my life in my business to serve, knowing that they'll come back to their business after those 4 years. It'd be a better quality or a better pool of quality people.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think?
Absolutely. Well, you get a nice plethora of different ideas that come out, and you say, okay, this one worked, this one didn't, let's go back to this one, you know. Or oh, he's got a new idea, let's try that one. Oh, that really works, let's stay with that one, you know. Just do that, and you would see 90% of our problems go away. Honestly, it's money has honestly ruined this country. I mean, it comes with the territory, I guess. We're the most profitable country in the world.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, it happens. If you want to be more profitable, then honestly, you got to look out for yourself. And I think that's what a lot of these politicians are doing. They're coming into the office, be like, how do I make my life better, not America?
Well, there's no question that happens. And one of the things that just on its face have puzzled me forever is I don't know how somebody goes in to become a congressional representative or even a senator, and they stay for a term or two or three, and they leave a multimillionaire. I don't get it, because the salary that you're getting from the people, while rather healthy as a senator, it still does not equate the total wealth that they seem to leave with. It's mind-boggling to me.
Oh yeah,
It's nuts.
Pharmaceutical companies you in with dude, it's I get it, man. And the older I get, the more I open my eyes up to it, and I'm starting to become a bit more of I want to say a smarter American. I didn't think I would be into politics like this.
Right.
And I think America is really getting into politics. I think everybody's becoming more political, and I think that tends to kind of work in not our favor.
Right. They wear it as a badge of honor, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know. I think that people want to wear their political affiliation as a badge.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. But the issue I have with that, and especially the division between the most predominantly the Republicans and the Democrats, is you have people on both sides. Now, I'm a Republican. I'm even a conservative, but I'm not going to say that Republicans and conservatives are always right. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure as hell not going to say the Democrats are always right. They make a lot of fuck-ups. But between those situations, we have people who are siding with either one. Now, when somebody screws up and the logical reasoning is behind, my party messed up, nobody wants to actually admit that they were wrong.
Absolutely.
And that's the problem. It's like, crap, I was wrong. I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose this vote. I don't want to lose this person. I want to lose him being part of our party. How can we make him believe it? How can we make her believe it? And I think that's the situation. If we got a couple, everybody's walking around way too prideful of who they are and what they believe in. That when it comes time to admit that, hey, you know what? Yeah, that was screwed up, and I sided with them. That's where you start having problems.
And I think that's evolved over time. I think we were in generations prior, or maybe decades prior, we were a little more open to admitting a mistake and going forward and trying to correct it. But we're so prideful now. It's almost there's such, in some people, in some sections of society, there is such a devout loyalty to a politician or to a party that's mind-numbing to me. Mm-hmm. Allegiance, almost. The countries where you should be of your allegiance to, not a party, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, being a part of a party, okay, I get it. But, your ideas are broken up between Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, liberals. You have that. All of that, it's okay to have differences. It's okay to have different opinions. Yeah, you have to have them in order, because then it becomes a dictatorship. Then it becomes a communism. Then
Amen.
That we don't want that. What makes our country great is the ability to vote, the ability to have different opinions, have different ideas, and collaborate on them and stuff like that. Instead, one side thinks they're always right, the other side thinks they're always right, and we're just bashing each other in the head, trying to figure out what the right way to go, man.
True. It's true.
Yeah. So,
how do you handle it? I mean, you got such a big sphere of people, right? I mean, and you probably have a portion of your friends that, if engaged in conversation with you, are probably on the different side of politics from you. How do you generally handle that?
No, I delete them on Facebook. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That's great. That's fucking great.
No, look. The way I handle things is I say, you've had men and women who went overseas and fought for your ability to oppose my ideas, to oppose the ideas that's being governed to you right now.
Right.
You have people who died to fight for your rights to be able to say, hey, I don't like the government, or I do like the government, or whatever. And I say, hey, you're entitled to your opinion, because really you are. And a lot of people don't realize that. And it's crazy. I don't understand the idea behind especially like social media is great in a lot of aspects, but it has created the division to begin with.
Right.
That's where you get so many people. I'm blocking you and stuff like that. You get so much drama and bull crap on there. Like, if you're sitting there, I got my phone. If I'm scrolling, if I read something that I don't agree with, you know what I do? I keep scrolling.
Yeah, it seems like a simple concept.
Whoa, I just keep scrolling. Hey, I don't agree with that. All right, keep scrolling.
A simple concept.
I don't hold it against that person. I don't say that they're wrong. I say, no, you're an idiot. This isn't what happens. I don't want to do that. You
think people are looking to be offended? Not a certain group. Well, not everybody, but I mean, there's a certain portion of society looking to be offended.
They're looking for attention, so to speak.
That's
Trolls. We call them internet trolls.
Right.
People who just want, yeah, go ahead. Say this, and I'm going to come back and bash you with this. Honestly,
right.
I don't think they got much to do with their life, man. If they're sitting there online, that's all they want to do is argue. And
well, you can't win. Like the funny part about it is, to me, like if you're going to expend energy and emotional energy and having a discussion with someone or quote unquote a internet argument,
right,
there's a part of you, I'm guessing, that definitely wants to win, because why would you fucking do it if you didn't think you had a chance to? And the thing is, you're never going to change anybody's mind on the web. You're just not going to do it.
No, that's not the place to do it.
Say your piece and roll from it, man. If they want to engage in conversation, that's fine. If they want to engage you in a fight, then have fun with that. Right? I mean, I don't get it.
Quit being a keyboard warrior and come meet me in a parking lot.
Yeah. I don't think anybody wants to meet you in a parking lot, buddy. Me, they wouldn't be too worried, but you, that's a different story. Open another beer at the same time. This is good stuff. So
it'll hit you a little bit.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, no doubt about it. I fish on an empty stomach too. I'm feeling great right now. One will do it to you. Two's gonna be fantastic. So, my friend, tell me what you think. Oh, just another Dogfish is going to get opened here. Just sounds good.
That is a good sound.
It's a good sound.
That's a great sound.
It comes across great on a microphone too. So, what's your best guess or estimate as to when we're going to get back to something close to normal, and specifically large gatherings? Like, we're both big music fans, so concerts, big thing. And then, of course, sporting events, big sporting events. What's your thoughts?
Oh, man. I want to say it's obviously it has to, whenever it starts warming up, people get less sick. Honestly, it's not going to open up by the governor. It's going to open up by the people. Mm-hmm. People are going to start standing up. You're going to see, as soon as it starts warming up, once it gets to like June or July, right, especially July 4th, You mean to tell me you're going to keep people away from celebrating this nation's? It's
going to be an interesting freedom? July 4th, my friend.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be.
No, I honestly think it's going to be exactly. I think it's going to be better. I think it's going to be the best July 4th we've ever seen.
You think? Huh?
I think people are going to come up and they should be like, you know what? We're not going to do what you say. We're going to go out. We're going to have a good time. We're going to light off fireworks. We're going to do this and that, and the governor's going to be like, oh, okay, all right, everything's open.
I'm hoping we're open by then. I mean, like in Pennsylvania here, the 4th, I guess, is the stay-at-home order. Well,
yeah,
he makes things up as he goes along here, too.
Dude, it's not even funny. Right? Like, he's just like, oh, what do I do now? Now he's got this thing I just saw. Certain counties are going to turn into yellow, the state yellow, where it's no more than 25 people can be together at a time. Which still takes away your baseball, your football. It takes away your concerts and stuff like that. But I mean,
is he sitting at night just dreaming up this shit? Because I hate to be so flippant about it, but it's almost like, come on, like,
I don't agree.
How about a coherent message?
Right,
there hasn't been any.
No, there hasn't. There's no plan. It's like, okay, he just gets with his advisors and be like, okay, what do we do now? I honestly think. I have to think that he's got maybe a gun to his head right now, because logically, like, I can understand Philadelphia being a problem. Mm-hmm. It's near the epicenter in New York City. Right. Okay, I get it. Okay, right. Philadelphia, and one of my really good friends is a nurse out there. She says, yeah, it's pretty bad.
but not the whole fucking county.
No,
There's little
not even
pockets of it.
Pittsburgh. Not even Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh itself, we're such a small city, but at the same time, it's like nobody's like sick. I honestly can't tell you one person that I have connection with who's had the coronavirus. I think I know a decent amount of people.
Yeah, you do.
Do you know anybody?
I know one person that died in a home from complications that they said was COVID related. Now, I want to mention that they said, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but there's a part of me that's very distrustful of the cause of death for any aged person right now. I think there's an agenda that could be manipulated by blaming COVID for maybe deaths that were caused by other issues the patient had.
Right.
Just my thoughts.
Well, and me and Mary were meeting with a venue actually yesterday in Greene County, because we believe that county is going to open up before a lot of the other ones for our next wedding. And the one lady was actually a nurse, and she says, they dealt with a lot of a lot of people who are on hospice, or getting ready to die and stuff like that. But if they just have a little bit of coronavirus in them, it's, we're going to label this coronavirus. We're going to send that in, I don't get that. Man. They're padding their records, man. And it's just to, again, incite fear. For me, I'm not going to sit in fear, man. I'm not going to live in fear.
No, you shouldn't.
You want to live in?
Nobody should.
I'm not afraid to die. I don't understand. Like, I've lived a pretty good life. Now
you're just getting started, man.
Yeah. Well, if I die today, the only thing I'd be disappointed about was not having kids, not having a family. The only thing I'd be disappointed about was not marrying Mary. That's what I would be disappointed about. But I'm not afraid to die. You know what I'm afraid to do? Not live. I'm afraid to not live my life. And there's millions and millions of people right now who are not living their lives. They're stuck in fear. Yep. And if there was my message, if it was my message to them, like, stop living in fear. We have the driving to work is more dangerous than a coronavirus. Driving, you could be, you can run into a lot of different situations that you could die from. Yeah. Coronavirus is like way off in the distance.
I think that's one of the worst parts of social media, and in the broader context, that's one of the worst. That is one of the worst problems we face as a society now, with increased communication and the plethora of quote unquote news options that we're inundated with 24/7. We don't need 20. I'm on my pedestal here, but I don't think humans need 24/7 news services. I think
we don't.
We don't need to ingest all that negativity all the time.
You know what I've always said? We as a species, human species, we are drawn to negativity, and the reason why is because our natural instinct, like all animals in the world, is to survive. When we come to a negative portion of our life that could possibly injure us or kill us, we try to avoid that.
No doubt.
So we add more attention to the negativity to, again, avoid that situation. It's a natural instinct, and I get it. That's why you have people who, the main. If you're with a group of people, you got nothing to talk about. You're going to talk about something bad because everybody's got an opinion on what's bad. Don't do that, or let's say for instance, like, you're at a job and some guy had screwed up in the past. He that guy, I don't know, caught something on fire, whatever it may be.
Personal experience or what?
A little bit of a firebug. I don't know. No, I like that. Let's say that guy caught something on fire. Be like, okay, keep open flames away from that guy. But they're going to constantly talk about that. Doesn't matter if that guy went out and did his job to the fullest,
absolutely,
the best thing he ever did. The next 10 years of his life, people are going to remember him for lighting a fire over there. And Why is that? It's because we're drawn to the negativity, we're drawn to drama, we're drawn to the idea that that person at one point put things at risk,
right?
And we want to avoid that, but we're going to continue talking about it. And I think that's what the news association is all about. It's about throughout the drama, throughout the negativity, because people will talk about it, people will share it, people will discuss it and communicate about it, and that's how they make money. And I hate to say it, guess what? If you got rid of the news media, 80% of our problems would vanish.
Yeah, it's self-perpetuated. It just keeps, it's regurgitated constantly.
Yes.
And it's and again, I don't like the word conspiracy, but there's money in keeping people fearful. Mm-hmm. There's money in it.
Yep.
And they're all guilty. From Fox to CNN to MSNBC, they're all guilty. You know, whether you're watching Fox Network, which drives me nuts, is every like 2 minutes they have that music that comes on and goes boom, breaking news or news alert or something. It's like every you know,
it's meant to draw you in. It's meant to make you watch. It's made to be, oh God, I wonder who's dying today. You know,
I mean, and we don't. And the thing is, society does not need that now. We don't need that. There's enough angst out there. There's enough fear out there. We don't need to perpetuate. Now, we're like that moth going to the flame, though, because we keep turning it on.
Yeah, we
do. See, I don't, and I haven't for a long time. But yet, it's a conscious decision I have to make. And there's moments that and I'm not a big television person, but obviously I'm a pandemic. You know, I've watched like 5 or 6 different series. I'm bored, right? Mm-hmm. There's a part of me though that the curiosity factor is there. Well, I'll just turn on the news for a second just to see if I'm missing something. Yeah. What a fucked up way to think.
Yeah,
what is wrong with us?
I know.
What is wrong with us? And our phones, right?
I know. Our phones are one of the biggest problems. I mean, just having that ability to access that negativity and drama right at our hands, it sucks. And, you know, I honestly believe, you know, we'll feel much better if we all just like take our phones off, once for a week, like throw our phones away and just not touch it, not go to it, whatever. If you need to contact me on a home phone.
Let me ask you a question. So if this would have happened, now again, there's an age difference between us, unfortunately. I'm the old guy in the room. But my point is, if this had happened in 1976, when there was basically 5 channels here in Pittsburgh, you know, major news, you had a local station or 2 maybe. They'd always would sign off at midnight, right? It was bad, right? So my point is, I can't imagine CBS, ABC, NBC running 24/7 newscast, news broadcast about this. So you got the word, you ingested it. Maybe there's a special report at 9 p.m. that lasts an hour, and then Mannix comes on, right? It's like what if the problem itself has a finite level of severity, but we perpetuate and grow that severity based upon the way we ingest news?
No, it's...
How about that?
Yeah, well, that's, mind-boggling there. I'm going to have a red stripe on that note, honestly.
There's a mind fuck for you right there, right?
No, and it is all about how you perceive the news. It's like music, man. You're listening to a song.
Right.
The greatest artists won't tell you what the song is about. They'll allow you to perceive what you think the song is about.
Absolutely.
And so that's what the news media is doing. And it's just like it's people are just falling into its trap. You want my solution? People go outside, enjoy the weather. Well, not today because it's snowing in May.
Yeah, go. It is actually snow flurries out there.
There's snow flurry. As I was driving here, it was snowing in May. But go out, get away from the TV, get away from your phones. Go walk through the park, walk through the woods, meet up with somebody. If you want to do the whole social distancing, stay 6 feet away from whatever. Just do something that gets you away from the regurgitation, bullshit, drama, negativity that the news constantly puts into you.
Or social media.
Yeah, or social media. Even social media is miserable because that's the most regurgitated stuff that you'll ever see.
There's low integrity on information
Oh
out
my
there.
God, it's so much satire sites that just like, you know, wow, we want to throw this information out, and people are like, whoa, the amount of people who will literally repost an article without even reading it, and then I love the ones that at the end of the article to say, if you actually believe this, you're an idiot, blah blah blah, and obviously they didn't read it, and then
it's just there, dude. I saw something today that was mind-numbing to me, but I wasn't surprised. There was an article that was, and obviously it was it was political. Hillary Clinton, what was it? Some advisor to something was killed today. Kenneth McCormick was killed today.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, if you read the whole fucking article, I think at the end they were talking about South Park. Like Kenny McCormick, and like South Park, but no one read the article, and no one realized it was a spoof website that was supposed to be there for comedy. People were taking it
serious,
literally,
and oh my God, and, dude, I saw that.
Kenneth McCormick was he's Kenny on South Park. Come on, man. Come on. I'm not a Hillary Clinton fan by any stretch of imagination. But I can't claim killing Kenny on. I can't blame her for that.
Kenny dies every day.
Exactly right. But that's my point. Like, come on, we're as a people, we're better than that. Right?
Yeah, we are. We're smarter. I think what the problem is too is that we all think that we're so damn busy that we don't have time to really look into this stuff. But if you just took the time out, especially if you want to be a little bit more of a light in the darkness,
right?
Take your time,
right.
Go out there, do the research. I know it's hard to find. I know there's tons of satire sites out there, but find your logic, find your reasoning. It's not worth killing all these businesses in America. It's not worth
it's been ridiculous.
Causing more drama. It's not worth the negativity. Hell, instead of sharing, Clinton's killed somebody today, share a kitten chasing a ball video, like do something like that. Give us something to like be happy about, and then honestly we'll find that a lot of us will be a lot more happier, especially if some of us who are addicted to scrolling. So
I was talking with Nicole Holloway, who was on a couple of days ago. We were laughing, and I said to her, I remember 2011 when Facebook was dominated by cats, those pictures of their cats, and I remember lamenting how flipping ridiculous that was back then. Now I wish that was the case.
Now you envy it. You're like, man, 2011.
Bring those cats back. 9 years ago, bring those freaking cats back that I couldn't stand. Rather have that. I never really asked you this. So I know of your MMA and UFC background, but like on other sports, are you a big sports fan? I mean, are you a football fan, baseball fan, basketball fan?
And as a man, I want to say I am.
The truth comes out on the Eric McKenna project.
Honestly, I want to say I wish I knew a lot of football players and different.
Sure.
I want to know the trade deals and all that crap. Honestly, I haven't. When I was in MMA. At that time, it was just kind of, as selfish as it sounds, it was all about me, and I wanted to focus on me so much that by the time I got done, I didn't have time to really worry about professional sports and stuff like that. Maybe I watched more of the UFC, but
so you're
beyond
not
that,
like a big baseball fan or a big football fan or hockey.
I love the games. I don't love talking about. I don't love talking about the stats of a person and stuff like that. Right. You know what I love? I love the atmosphere of the game. I love going to the games. I love, I wanted to be
violence.
Absolutely. I wanted to be before I got an MMA, I wanted to be a professional football player. My dream was either to play in Arena League or Canadian football, or
you're
of course
to say for the Steelers.
For the
Steelers. You're supposed to say that. Sorry,
for the Steelers, for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Damn it. I wanted
Steelers.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and I wanted to do that. But I was never really into sports. My dad always tried to get me to sit down and watch it, and in the back of my head, the reason why I didn't like to watch it so much is because I wanted to be those people.
Yep.
And it hurt me that I wasn't there yet. And so it's like I didn't want to sit there and watch somebody else's successes, again, as selfish as that sounds, but when you've put yourself on such a high pedestal, it's like it hurts you to think that, okay, somebody else is better than you. It's great to watch their success and how, they're in the big leagues and stuff like that. But, at that time, I was more focused on making sure I got to that level.
Got it.
Than I was to worry about, who's got the, best home run average or whatever. So.
All right, so what we didn't announce at the beginning is if you're looking at the backgrounds being a little different between where I'm sitting and where Adam's sitting, we are in two different rooms. Am I right, my friend?
Social distancing.
He's not real happy about that.
I hate this. This is bullshit.
He was really wanted to be in the studio with me, and he will be on our next visit. But we are in a multi-room, multi-suite Boogie Steet Studio, pandemic-era setup. There's no one over there, right?
There's nobody. Hello. He's like, it's like crickets over here. I'm by myself, man. It's
we're all separated.
No, honestly, I do have to give it up to you. The both of the rooms are really nice, and I can't wait until we do. Why is it that you get the best room? Why do I?
Somebody else asked me that too, and I said because it's my fucking show. Simple answer.
But honestly, it's great though. I like it, man. I love the wood. Man. I love the
the reason I bring that up is because I owe you a special thank you. You, when I started this crazy project, choosing guests was really tough. Really tough.
Yeah.
And you were turned on to me by a mutual friend, and you graciously came in, and I didn't know what I was. I mean, I really didn't know what I was doing, but we had a great time. And I encourage anybody who has not seen Adam's original appearance on the show, ericmckenna.com or Eric McKenna Project at Facebook. You will find the video there. Your story is something else. It's really something else, and it's one of my best viewed programs. I want to thank you for that.
Oh,
so
I appreciate that.
It's an honor
thank
for you to have been here the first time.
Yeah.
And it means a lot to me that you're here today. I want to make sure I'm very clear about that. Our friendship aside, thank you for believing in my show when it was nothing.
Wow. Maybe we should have started off with that one, and I've been a less nervous. Am I doing good? Am I talking right?
No, I mean your story was.
I appreciate it.
Was
Thank
amazing.
You.
Now I want to reference back to your story. So, what I found so amazing about your initial story was the drive. I mean, you. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, you had a lot of struggles, had a lot of money problems. You had lack of direction problems when you were very young. And you willed your way into MMA. You willed your way through an incredible amount of work, God-given ability naturally too. And last time you were here, I threw a softball out at you at the very end of the show. And I said, so when are you going to step back into the cage? And you very coyly just kind of like, well, I'm kind of bouncing something around my head, yada, yada, yada. And I let you go because I wasn't experienced at what I was doing. I should have drilled you. I didn't. So now I'm going to revisit that. So
all right.
Are you thinking at all about the return to the cage?
The return of the prototype.
That's right. That's right.
He's
still
yeah
no
being
coy again on me.
I'm being coy on you, but honestly, I want to say. And I don't want to be like a Demi Downer. And I don't want to add shadow to the legacy of the prototype. But honestly, right now, I have been dealing with something, and I'll admit it right here on your show.
Sure.
Like I have been depressed, man. I am,
really,
and I'm dealing with a very, very hard case of depression.
Okay,
and I believe a lot of retired professional athletes kind of go through this, and I've read up. Plenty of articles and stories of guys and how they cope with it. I'm almost at a point where I'm willing to seek professional advice.
Okay.
And the more and more I look back at it, it's like, man, my body still feels fine. It still feels good. And it's like, I made it once. Why can't I make it again?
Right.
So, in the back of my head right now, like, especially with this bullshit coronavirus global pandemic bullshit that we're dealing with, like I'm at a point, man, where I'm ready to step back in the cage and beat the shit out of somebody, because or get the shit beat out of me, either or, because honestly, with a lot of professional athletes, it's like that was our one goal. That was our light in the tunnel. That was our way to our goal in life, our end zone, basically.
Right.
And that's where I wanted to be. And if I'm being truthful with you and myself, more or less myself, when I had the opportunity to go for it, I didn't take advantage of it. And I have to live with that regret. And what happened was, growing up through the MMA situation, I was so focused on getting there. I was so focused, but I didn't have anything. That was the main thing. I didn't have anything. I didn't have a place. I was barely making bills. I was working a dead-end job. But then when I made it, at that particular time, I had worked my way up. I got in the gas industry. I created a career.
Right.
I got a 401k. I got a house. And at that point, in order to be great, what I had to do is leave that all behind again. And I wasn't able to do that. And I have to live with that regret. I wasn't able to leave that behind and go after my dream. And to other people who are in my situation, if you get that point, if you want greatness, it takes sacrifice. And I thought I had already sacrificed enough getting there that I didn't have to sacrifice anymore. And like I said, I have to live with that. But in the back of my head, I want to fight that out of me.
Okay.
And I want to get to a spot where I can focus on something, that I have an end goal, I have an end zone to reach. And yeah, man, the more and more I think about it, the more beer I drink, the more pizza I eat, the more fast food I consume. I'm like,
there's more in you.
Let's do it again.
There's more in you.
Let's do it again. And I want to run it back. I don't give a damn if I get in there and just fight one more time. I always tell people I've got one more fight left in me, and I do. So yeah, I'm going to get back into it.
There you go, friends. He said it right here.
I'm going to get back into it.
That makes me very happy.
And I don't give a damn if I'm a freight train, baby. If you're in my way, I'm going to run you over. But if not, then jump on and enjoy the ride, because David, I'm sick and tired of this. I try to find a little bit of some sanity in my life, a little bit of like trying to be content with what I have, and it just doesn't meet with the dreams that I've had, that I've grown up with. And
you want to revisit them.
All I want to do is I want to still capture it. I don't think I've captured it. I got to the UFC. Great. I got to the UFC, but I didn't prosper in the UFC. The reason why I didn't prosper in the UFC because I didn't work hard enough. I didn't sacrifice enough. I didn't put my body on the line as much as what I thought I had to do. But now I know. Now I have the ability to, I have the drive again. My body feels good.
Was it just enough to get there? Was that at that moment back then, do you think it was just enough to get there, and that was an amazing accomplishment in its own right? Was it? But was you let that be enough for you at that moment?
I think a little bit, yeah. I think I got there and I started coasting.
Okay.
And I forgot to keep driving. Okay. And I let the good life get to me. I started getting to the spotlight, and I lived in the spotlight as much as I could, but I forgot what got me to the spotlight was hard work, dedication, and sacrifice. And at that particular moment, you think you got the world in front of you, but if you don't drive that road, man, you're gonna get run over. And that's what I did. I got run over. Okay. So, I'm not saying I'm going to get back to the UFC. I'm not saying that I'm going to be great again. I'm just saying I just want to, especially all this coronavirus crap and the wedding ended and, people just being absolute idiots. I just want to get in there and freaking fight and just release all the aggression I got inside of me. You're ready to go beat the shit out of somebody. Yeah. Son of a bitch, man. Yeah.
Well, that's good news. So are you training yet? Or are you thinking about training?
Nope.
That's okay.
No, I'm not
Doesn't
training
McGregor
yet.
drink his whiskey, right? I mean,
I drink plenty of McGregor whiskey,
Right on,
the proper
man.
12.
Proper 12.
No, I
Oh, my check. Proper 12.
no, as you know, most of the gyms are shut down right now, including the gym that I'm a part of. So I'm going to get back with Kama Worthy, which I think Kama Worthy would be a great guy to get on your show. I don't know if you know who he is.
I've heard the name. I'd love to have him.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that.
Kama Worthy is he's the newest Pittsburgh guy who just got into UFC, and his story is pretty incredible too. So he's a cool dude, and he owns the gym that we're a part of, and so I'm going to ask him about possibly coaching at least one day a week at the gym, and then
Awesome.
using that as a kind of a gateway into getting back into the miserable hellish road of training and fighting again. So like I said, I mean, I've always got one more fight left in me. Whether or not I get there, dude, it's been 4 years since I've had my hand raised.
Right.
4 years since I've had my hand raised, and I've had.
You're still a young man.
I like to think so.
Certainly you are.
Yeah. So I mean, I figured I try it again. I haven't even spoken to my soon-to-be wife about it yet. So she's gonna listen to this and be like, "What the?"
You may want to look. You may want to talk to her tonight.
Can you edit this part out? Yeah.
Oh man.
So. I like Red Stripe. It's
Yeah,
good.
of course,
It's good beer.
It's good beer.
But yeah, man, I need some direction in my life. It feels like I'm just coasting again, and I've really got nothing to look forward to.
You've been hit hard by this coronavirus. I mean, you have a beautiful wife to be.
Yeah,
I'm happy that you two got together. I mean, it's obviously that's almost a fairy tale circumstance, and of course the crisis comes down and screws up your plans. That's just wrong.
We're not going to let it beat us. We're
won't.
We're gonna get married. And we're gonna get married before God's eyes, and doesn't have to be a ton of people there.
Right on.
And then we'll have a party later whenever everything opens up and gets back to normal, which I believe is when the American people decides to start standing up for the rights. But until then, I'm not going to let it break us down, break me down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to fight whatever's in the way, whether it's coronavirus, whether it's another opponent, whether it's just life in general, man. I want to be great, man. I've had so much. I've sat in my bed, living out of motels and other people's houses and basements and stuff, and I sat there looking at the ceiling telling myself, I'm not going to live this way for the rest of my life. I am going to be great, and I'm going to do everything I can to be there, whether or not it's a UFC fighter, whether or not it's an outdoor host or whatever. I'm going to do everything I can to be great.
Let's talk about the Thirsty Outdoorsman, because I'm still, one of the things there you go. And your sidekick, and you both need to appear on this show. I'm going to keep harassing you until that actually happens. Talk about that. The idea behind it, the proliferation. It's grown exponentially since the last time you were on this show. I mean, I follow it constantly.
Yeah.
And talk about your joy about being outside and the joy of doing that.
The Thirsty Outdoorsman, again, for those of the people who hadn't seen the last one or seen the last podcast with you, or even know of it, I started it back in I want to say 2015, and shortly after that, Tyler Moletnik decided to join the cause, and he's an amazing videographer plus editor. He's got a great sense of humor, but at the same time, his connections in the outdoor world are incredible. Mm-hmm. And so I've got an opportunity with him to experience a lot of things that I never thought I would be able to experience in my life, like traveling to Montana and fishing in some of the most beautiful trout streams, fishing on the Missouri River where oh God, now I'm letting a beer kick in.
Sorry.
Who's the people that traveled to Missouri?
Don't say Babe Winkleman.
Oh crap! I can't. Oh, jeez. Well, I'll let it go. I'm gonna let it go.
That's all right. I get it.
Anyways, yeah. So I get to fish in Missouri River and Ennis, Montana. It was beautiful, and this guy has an amazing connection in the outdoor world, and it's crazy. Like I could be like, hey, you know, I thought about why don't we go to like Iceland and go ice fishing? He's like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I know a guy out there. I'm like, how? How do you know him? Yeah,
you got to do that.
Yeah,
by the way.
and eventually, I will. Eventually, he'll come on a show and talk about it. Maybe when he gets a little less cold feet and a little less nervous. Maybe a few more Dogfish head. He'll be on.
Tell him we'll buy him a whole case.
Okay, he'll be on because he loves Dogfish head as much as I do. So
there's a pizza joint down the street.
But me and him, we started this thing, and we honestly though. At first, it was more of just kind of like a glamour thing. We were just kind of going out and kind of boasting about what we're doing, and then all of a sudden we started getting people who were you know what, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go out and do that. I'm going to do the same thing you guys are doing, and some people come join us who've never done it before. Like my best friend came and joined a duck hunting trip. Now he loves duck hunting, and it's great if our objective as far as the Thirsty Outdoorsman goes is to get more people interested in the outdoors, then that is an amazing accomplishment.
Absolutely right.
Because I mean, it's the outdoorsman is what protects the outdoors. I mean, we are the on the front lines of conservation and everything like that.
You consider yourself a conservationist?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I hunt. If you hunt, you're a conservationist. Right on. Because your license goes to pretty much all of that goes to the conservation of wildlife and things like that, and the protection of wildlife. So a lot of people don't understand that. There's even a tax with and Tyler would be able to discuss this a little bit more on it. Sure. But there's a tax. Like every outdoor item that you buy within that genre, if you're buying fishing gear, goes to fishing conservation. If you buy hunting gear, goes to hunting conservation, which ultimately creates more opportunity for wildlife to prosper. And a lot of people don't realize that. I mean, for a deer hunter, deer hunters are relatively unsuccessful. You have a lot of deer hunters be like, oh, I get a deer every year. But generally, there's a lot of deer hunters. There's a lot of hunters that go out and don't get anything and don't kill anything. Right. Yeah. There's a lot of deer stories. And those deers have the ability to be protected. The wildlife and habitat are being able to be created with the funding that we have by buying the license and buying the gear to hunt them and stuff like that. If it wasn't for us, these animals would be plowed over and a parking mall would be put on top of it.
Speaking of that, can you answer a question for me? Like, why is it just that I see so many does all through my neighborhood, right here 3 blocks away where I live? You never see buck, though.
Bucks are smart.
I can see the now coming down on you, buddy.
Yeah.
Them female livers are going to kill you, man.
Here's the thing that yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh no. I take that back. No. Honestly, it doesn't, of course, the most sought after deer is the buck.
Right.
And hunting wise,
where are they?
They are in and around. If you look around,
my neighborhood.
you will find them. But the doe are there. You have one buck will be able to impregnate 8 or 9 different doe.
Damn, that's a player.
Yeah, he is a player. I mean, there's some serious orgies going out in the woods. If you've ever been during rut and you've seen this, most hunters will allow a deer to kind of finish doing what he's doing before they take the shot. So if you know what I mean. So
it's a bro thing.
Yeah. All right, he's good. Okay, I'll take the shot. No,
that's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, generally does are less sought after, so of course you're going to see them a lot more. They're going to be, easier to kind of tame, and
they're everywhere.
Calm into. Yeah, they'll most people go after bucks because that's the thing. But
there's doe season, right?
Oh yeah, doe. So you can definitely take doe.
And their meat is just as tasty as
if not more, because it is less muscle and stuff like that.
All right on.
That's why they say a better deer is a better tasting deer is one that's on flat land than it is in the mountains.
Wow.
So,
okay. So I'm learning something here.
Yeah. So,
all right. Cool.
But yeah. So that's probably what's going on right there.
Have you ever done big game hunting?
I've never done big game. I want to. I want to go after moose because I've tried moose. Moose is delicious. Elk would be great too. Elk is difficult. Well, if you're hunting in PA, honestly, it's a lottery system if you want to get it. So here's what's happening. So there's elk in PA, northern central PA. I can't remember the place where they have them, but I mean we've had the most elk we've ever had here, obviously. But the tag in itself is a lottery system, and
really?
I forget how many people actually get a tag for an elk, and I forget the percentage of those people who actually get an elk.
Wow.
So these elk are I mean, they're in people's front yards and stuff like that.
No shit.
So yeah.
Okay.
And then it's the same thing with anything else. Like moose too. A lot of states are on a lottery system. Is
there a lot of moose in PA?
No, there's no moose in PA, but there's elk. There's elk, but moose. I think they start coming in around. Well, Maine has moose, I believe. Vermont. I think that's kind of where they stop at.
I saw them in Maine as a kid on vacation there quite frequently. I was canoeing once. It's just honestly true. I was canoeing in a stream. You know, one of those streams where you could canoe and then you had to carry the canoe for a while. It was a low stream.
Yeah.
And I went around a bend and there was one standing right like in the middle of the stream, which was like, I'm sure photogenically beautiful, but scared the shit out of me.
Well, a lot of people don't realize I believe there's more deaths to moose than there is to bears.
I was terrified.
Yeah, moose are very territorial, especially a male moose, a female moose will trample you to death if they got a calf around. So
we just kind of just stood there. It went
that's
away.
a good thing to do.
It just went away.
Yeah, that's a good
Slowly.
thing to do. Yeah, they don't care about you.
No, not at all.
Yeah, but big game hunt. I would love to do out in Montana, Colorado. They got bighorn sheep.
Yeah.
Super expensive though. You're talking about a $10,000 to $20,000 hunt.
Wait,
for
what?
one.
What?
Yeah, honestly,
that's insane.
Yeah, $10,000 to $20,000 hunt for one bighorn sheep, and that goes straight to conservation.
Wow.
You know, of course, whatever percentage that the outfit takes, but then the rest goes to conservation for that tag. Honestly, that's why people who are against hunting, that's why a lot of times we use the hashtag hunting is conservation on the Thirsty Outdoorsman, because it is. That's the general consensus of it. It is conservation, and without the hunters, these things will be plowed over, like I said before, with a parking mall or some sort of, Giant Eagle, Coles, whatever it may be. They'll find something else to put there where their habitat is.
There's such a huge confusion. Like, again, and I'm sure you probably feel the same way. What someone wants to do with their life, that's their business. I don't care. If you choose to eat meat, great. If you choose to be a vegan, God bless you, man. I don't care either way. But there seems to be a lot of vitriol that comes from the vegan community against the meat-eating community or hunting in general. And it's like, I don't think a lot of that community at times understands how much money and how necessary the hunting limits are. But number two, how much money goes into conservation through the hunters.
Yeah, no. If we left it up to the vegans, they wouldn't care a damn about the animals. Honestly, all they do is they see a cute little animal walking around and somebody shooting it with a 30-06. That's all they see, and they're like, "Oh, why would you do that? That's
very unfortunate, though."
Yeah,
and that's proliferated on social media, obviously, right?
Yeah. And I understand where they're coming from. Hunting is not, there's a lot of benefit to it, and there's some times where it gets kind of grueling. Sometimes you spine an animal, and well, hopefully you have enough moral senses to take it out of its misery right then and there as quickly as possible. But beyond that, I mean, like the vegans, do you see them putting money into conservation? No, they don't put any kind. They have an opinion, and they're just expressing it, and that's all they're doing. They're not putting money into this, then helping it. And if they are, not much of it is actually going to conservation.
Yeah,
hunting is conservation, and that's the truth. And if they don't understand that, then hey, that's their fault because they forgot to look up the facts.
Right.
And it's one of those situations what we talked about before. They're just looking for ways to kind of make their
opinion known,
their opinion known and their opinion right. They're like, oh, what can I find? Oh, see, killing animals, blah blah blah. But honestly, like I said, if it wasn't for the hunters, they wouldn't have a place to really prosper. So
yeah, and it's funny. You'll laugh when I tell you this, but I learned so much about conservation and the necessity for the hunt through watching Joe Rogan, because he's a huge big game guy, and he eats elk constantly. And I'm dying to buy some fresh elk somewhere.
Yeah,
once I get the intestinal fortitude to pay that kind of money for it, I'm probably going to do it. But I'm just dying to grill it like he does, with some jalapenos grilled there, and just eat it that way with nothing else. Just eat it.
Oh yeah,
I gotta do that.
There's I had elk once. Well, have you ever been to Purgatory?
I had an elk burger once.
Yeah,
but someone told me that's not really the same.
It's not. You have to. But I was saying, at least you had elk at one point.
I have. Elk burger was amazing there.
Yeah, it's great. That's what I normally get when I go to Purgatory. But you have an elk steak and like an actual back strap of an elk. Yeah, and I've had that once, and it was. I mean, you talk about. It's not gamey. I don't know what people say when it's gamey. It doesn't taste anything. What does that even
mean?
Gamey is like a very
venison, bad venison.
Yeah, like I don't even know how you describe a gamey. To think about it, it's like I don't know. Maybe
greasy?
it tastes like grass or something. Honestly, yeah,
gravel.
A real yeah. It doesn't taste like the hormone injected cows that I normally eat.
Yeah,
that's what gamey means.
I was at Thanksgiving once 30 years ago at a friend's house. I'm not kidding you, and they were a little different. They would shoot possum in their back property, and they'd skin and eat that, and it was just they were different kind of folks. But they basically shot their own turkey, and they cooked it and had it and I thought it was a little on the greasy side, and it just tasted different. Not bad, it just tasted different. Yeah. That's all I know of the word gamey. That's all I know.
Yeah, it does definitely taste different. That is the most natural thing. That is what our forefathers grew up eating. That is exactly what it tasted like to them. That's how they survived. Right. I mean, what we're eating now tastes great.
Yeah.
Anything in butter tastes better.
You don't say.
Yeah. And it's but honestly, that's the amount of grain that you're eating, that animal ate, the amount of hormones injected, whatever.
Okay.
So if people understood that, then maybe it's like any diet that you do. It's like, this tastes great. Well, it's probably bad for you. So
what's the difference between grain-fed meat? Beer,
the Dogfish head bit you. He got you
on an empty stomach too. Grain-fed beef and grass-fed beef.
The difference is, there's not much difference if you. Is my information to people, to the public. If you get grass-fed beef, you have to ask if it was grass finished. So here's the thing.
What does that mean?
So grass-fed beef, you'll have plenty of guys, and this is just a little tactic within the meat industry and stuff like that. Okay. What they'll do is they'll normally have them just grass-fed or grazing, free grazing,
free range.
Yeah, free range. the last month. They'll start pounding them with oats. They'll start pounding them with grain. They'll start pounding them with all this stuff to basically bulk them up.
Sure.
Because obviously the heavier the animal, the more money you get.
Right.
That's the way it goes.
Right.
So honestly, that's all it is. It's just it's a less muscle, more fat, more meaty type of animal.
Okay.
And honestly, the only way you get that is through chemicals and grains and stuff like that. And, all the time, it's not good for you. So whenever you're looking for grass fed, look for grass fed and finished.
And there's your tip, friends.
And the difference between those two is obviously one's going to have a lot more. You know what they talk about when you go look at a meat, there's more marble to it. That's more fat to it. That's going to be more. When you get less lean meat, that's normally a grain fed or grain finished meat. And then when you get grass fed, you'll see it's more red, less fat in it, less marble.
Okay.
So that's another way to tell if you're looking at like a New York steak or a Delmonico or something like that. So
do you eat venison?
Yeah. I mean, I will say I'm a horrible deer hunter. So I haven't
the Thirsty Outdoorsman has admitted on the Eric McKenna project he is a horrible deer hunter.
I'm getting better. The more and more I get into it, I've always been a fisherman. I started recently getting to hunting when I met Tyler.
Right on.
But you know, Tyler would get me venison, so a lot of the deer that he shoots, and yeah, it's great. And when it comes down to it, there's not much difference especially if you do ground meat.
Yeah,
there's not much difference in the taste. I think it tastes great. In fact, I think it tastes better if you've had a backstrap from a deer. Wow, it's like a tenderloin. It's amazing. You know, so if people haven't tried it, they need to get out there and, you know, I don't want to say the name because I don't know what the name is, but there was a spot in the Strip District that they sold like wild game meat like that. I don't know if they were able to sell deer, but I know they were able to sell like elk and moose and stuff like that, which is similar.
No groundhog.
No, God, you want to eat a groundhog?
This family was a little bit different. Trust me.
What are you, Punxsutawney Phil? Gee.
Yeah, they would eat that, man. There was just some funky stuff going on over there. So, what have you eaten? Have you eaten elk? Obviously, you have. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't mean burgers. I mean, you've eaten elk steaks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Have you eaten moose? Do people eat moose?
Yes. Moose is apparently really good. I've never actually had a steak of moose, but I've had ground up. Tyler brought, he loves to visit Canada or in Alaska.
Right.
So he brought down last time it was like summer sausage, but moose.
Okay.
And that was really good.
Okay.
So I really like that, and everybody that has ever tried moose has said it's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about bear?
That is 50-50. I know that for a fact. That is 50-50. So you'll have some people who are like, no, bear's disgusting. Bear's, you know, I can't stand it.
Okay.
And other people, well, it depends on how you prepare it. You know, so
that was always the venison thing.
Yeah. It's like, well, did you smoke it and inject it with Creole butter? No. Yeah, bear is different. I've never tried bear, but that's from what I hear is bear. So.
What other odd or different meats have you eaten?
Alligator.
Alligator?
Alligator's good.
Okay.
Yeah. Alligator's good. I've had alligator tail. Down in North Carolina, there was a restaurant down there that sold alligator tail, and I tried that, and it's
Is it like a fish or is that meat? What would you?
No,
texture-wise.
I hate to use it, but chicken.
No shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's
everything
chicken.
tastes like chicken.
Everything tastes like chicken. But honestly, no, it tasted great, and I don't know. For me to give a accurate answer to that, I need one completely unseasoned.
Right.
I just want to cut it off, throw it in the grill, fry it up, and let me eat it.
Okay.
I've never had that. But what I had was seasoned with like Cajun seasoning.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. It was good.
What about do you hunt like birds?
Oh yeah, ducks. I love ducks.
Duck
I love
hunter.
pheasant. So
Duck's good. Duck has that.
Duck's almost like
it's kind of greasy.
Yeah, it's almost an acquired taste if you think about it.
Peking duck.
What is it?
There's a dish, a famous Chinese dish called Peking duck.
Oh, Peking duck.
It's a little greasy.
I've never had that actually. The only duck I've ever eaten was out, in the wilderness, whatever we actually shot.
What about pheasant?
Pheasant's great. Pheasant's good. Pheasant is sweeter chicken. That's the best way I can describe it. Yep.
That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No ostrich, right?
No. I was thinking. I was wondering if I had ostrich jerky. They make ostrich jerky.
Really?
Yeah. So, I had frog.
Yeah, I've had frog. That tastes like chicken.
That the best way I can describe
Frog
that is
legs.
a fishy chicken.
Yes, correct.
Fishy chicken.
Emu?
Nope.
Do people eat emus?
Yeah.
Okay.
They even make like a hand lotion. Emu.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's like I forget. Emu blue or blue emu or something.
That's
It's a hand
nuts.
lotion. I don't know. I can't see
On
it
the
different.
fishing end, though, because I know you're a big fisherman, what's your favorite fish to eat?
Ooh, man. Freshwater, saltwater.
Freshwater.
All right. Freshwater would be anywhere from the bluegill.
The bluegill. Not a lot of meat on that.
Not a lot of meat, but when you get the meat, it's delicious.
Good,
It's sweet.
okay.
So it's
Bony, right?
It is a little bony, but as long as you fillet it right, it's
Okay.
good. So the bluegill and the perch are
Perch, same
really,
thing, though.
Yeah. Yep. Pretty much
Small
same thing.
fish.
So those are the smaller the fish, the better.
Wait, really? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, the longer the fish is alive, the more toxins, the more whatever
Okay.
that fish eats. That's
it.
why, like, if you were to get a striper and you eat a striper, because I'm from the Chesapeake Bay, that's what we
Right,
did a lot. So
right.
we got a striper. We normally throw back like anywhere over 30 inches. We kept
shit.
we kept the ones anywhere from 18 to 25, 26
Okay.
inches because
Okay.
they were good eating. So. But saltwater wise, I'd have to say flounder is my favorite. I don't know if you ever had flounder.
Flounder. Yes, I've had flounder. So let me ask you this. So have you ever been deep sea fishing?
Yeah, we actually went deep sea fishing between me and Tyler. He, of course, knows a guy in Ocean City, and this is the only time I went deep sea fishing. We went out and we were trying to film for this company. So we started out fishing, and it was right after a big white marlin, the biggest white marlin tournament in the world every year at Ocean City. So we were going fishing about a week after that. And we didn't get a damn thing. We didn't get we had like one marlin in the spread, and then he never got hooked up. And then we were like, they're like, what do you want to do? You want to keep marlin fishing? We had already been out there for 5 or 6 hours,
right?
Doing this on a boat the whole time. We're like,
that's brutal. That's
and
brutal.
we were drinking heavy the night before, of course.
That's even more brutal.
But. And he was like, what do you want to do? He was like, hey, we just want to catch fish, man. He's like, well, we go out here. There's a reef like 300 feet out. We'll fish for these things called tile fish.
Tile fish.
Yeah. Or towel fish. Tile fish or towel fish. I don't know.
Are they tasty?
Really good. Wow,
Really?
are they really good? That was
Really?
Yeah, I was super surprised at how well they tasted. So we went out and we had a blast catching them, but that was about the only like deep sea fishing thing we ever did. We just have a few clips from that. We didn't really put together an episode.
Are you a trout fisherman?
Oh yeah.
To talk about trout, because I think trout's a great tasting fish. I know it's not spectacular, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah, trout. Now, wild trout in themselves are always better tasting than the stock trout. You get the stock trout who are kind of fed like the
shit.
Kind of like whatever you use power bait for, or the like maybe even dog food. Dog
food.
Yeah, I've seen them. I've
me?
seen them use a lot of different things
Are you
to feed
shitting
trout.
me? Dog food.
Yeah.
It's fucking horrible. I mean, like on a trout farm.
Yeah, I mean that's what they do. I mean, in order to feed the fish. I love trout fishing. I honestly think trout fishing is one of those arts that is slowly but surely losing its luster. It is.
What do you mean?
You get the normal. Like what I'm really into right now is bass fishing.
Okay.
I
We're
love
headed there.
Yeah, I love bass fishing, man. And in fact,
What's
actually,
the difference between the two? For someone who's not a fisherman, what's the difference between trout and bass fishing?
Trout
Technique?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, technique and finesse. So trout.
Okay.
So think about trout fishing as like painting a mural, and I think of bass fishing as like taking a picture with your iPhone. It's that's the best way.
Okay.
It actually wasn't a bad analogy.
Pretty good, man. You put that in writing. It's not bad. You can sell that.
Yeah, and honestly, trout fishing is where you know, a lot of guys will make their own flies, and it's very methodic, and it's and when you're casting, it's very.
There's some art to it.
Yeah, it's just, and you got to be quiet and sneaky. And then bass fishing is like guy rolling up with some Brentley Gilbert on. You're like, "What's up, guys?" You
Case
got
of brew.
Yeah, he's got a 150 horsepower Merc in the back. He's like driving. You can do 60 miles on power on the lake, and
like NASCAR.
Yeah, throw big old baits like this, like whatever. Yeah, that's a difference. So
so the fish are not bass fish are not intimidated.
Not
by
as
noise,
not,
right?
Not as much. They're normally sought after a lot more than they are trout. Trout is more spooky and very, very spooky. When you're fish for trout, I mean, there are times when I've gone up to brook trout streams that are no wider than this table.
Wow.
I've had to literally army crawl up with a small fly rod and like just do this, and you catch a little trout like maybe about yay big, but it's a native trout, and it's like it hasn't it hasn't been disturbed by anybody, so it's like it's not about the catch, it's about the art of catching the fish that is what's
sounds a little
more
boring
important.
to me.
It tends to be. You have to, if you have somebody there to show it to you the right way,
right.
You'll find the passion for it, because when somebody says, "Wow, that's incredible," but you're looking at an 8-inch brook trout, you're like, "Why is this incredible?"
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful fish. It was wild. It was never put there by anybody. It was in its own habitat, and you pulled it out. You know, as opposed to the bass fishing, you know, there's an 18-inch bass, and wow, got him, take a picture, throw him back, you know.
Got it. No, yeah. I get it. So just the art of it's different.
Yeah.
If you use the word art in there, but that's for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, man. Did you have fun?
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah. We covered a lot of fucking ground.
Dude.
Hunting, fishing, which I have no clue on any of it.
The map that we followed on this conversation, if somebody followed that, they're in freaking bumped up. I don't even know.
What's great about this whole thing is, so the audience knows, we're in different rooms, but we have a Skype setup situation here where I can see Adam, he can see me. Mm-hmm. I lost my feed. Did you lose the feed?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. So now I'm just talking to a microphone and looking at myself in the camera. Hi.
So we take out of this conversation a couple of things. Number one, that you're ready for life to continue somewhat or for us to get back to normal, or as close to normal as we can, correct?
Right. As a nation, as united, as one as we can, stop being divided, and we all come together. That's what I'm looking for.
Amen.
I'm looking for everybody to just be happy and prosperous and pursuit of happiness. That's what I want.
And take a deep breath and fucking chill.
Yes. Stop being scared.
Yeah.
Stop being afraid. You know, it's a virus. You're probably going to survive. It's okay.
Yeah, it's going to be all right. Mm-hmm. It always ends up being all right in the end anyways.
We're going to be
Number
fine.
2, there's a possibility, maybe kind of somewhat, maybe a little bit thinking about it, could possibly maybe see Adam. See, I know you're the prototype. I call you the bomb. You're the atom bomb to me. But the prototype might be back in the ring soon in some capacity.
Yeah, I've got to find some direction in my life, and in order to do that, apparently I have to try to injure
he makes
somebody.
It sound like he's like falling off the edge. He's not falling off the edge. You got direction.
I've got direction. I guess it's like, man, I'll figure it out.
Okay,
I'll figure it out.
And then the Thirsty Outdoorsman obviously has a healthy future, although they haven't appeared on my show yet, which is like a problem.
They will soon. The Thirsty Outdoorsman will be, ready to go with a case of Dogfish head,
and we'll
ready
be
to
the
talk
Thirsty Indoorsman that night. Yeah, for sure.
Thirsty Indoorsman.
That's
Hopefully
right.
not 6 feet apart.
Well, no. And next time you'll definitely be in this room. I want to personally thank you for believing in this show in the beginning when you came,
Yeah,
and for coming back. It means a lot to me. And I also want to thank you for your honesty and your frankness. That's one thing I was very much looking forward to on this show, and you did not disappoint, my friend. And I want to thank you for the beer. I mean, how could I not thank you for the beer, the Dogfish beer? I mean, and he actually brought me some Red Stripe too. So we're hitting on all cylinders tonight, man. This is excellent, and I want you back on as soon as you can coerce your sidekick there, to get back on.
Okay, you got it, man.
Right,
Hey, I just want to say thank you for again, like shedding the light on my life personally.
There's a book there, I've been saying. How many times have I told you? There's a book there.
Yeah, man. I thought about
book.
it. Yeah, if it.
Get a writer. Get a. You don't have to do it yourself. I mean,
if it inspires one person in this lifetime, then that's what that's more than I can ask for. So,
well, on that point, let me remind anyone who's not seen Adam's original appearance on this show, go back, go to ericmckenna.com or Eric McKenna Project on Facebook or YouTube, and go back to our early shows, maybe number 12 or 8 or whatever your appearance was, and you'll get Adam's entire story there. It's inspirational. It's a gut wrencher, but it's also a definitely a testament to internal fortitude and drive, and that's the kind of thing I like to see continue on the line here, buddy.
If you can believe it, you can make it happen.
That jar of peanut butter story got me. It did, pal.
Oh, thanks, man.
All right, God bless you, man, and I wish you and your beautiful fiance the best. I know things are going to turn out for the best, but you got to get back on here soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, 6 foot cheers. Where are you at?
6 foot cheers, bro.
Are you cheers?
Yeah.
Are you cheers?
Salute.
Salute.
All right, friends. We are Adam Milstead. We are